Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or you just happy to see me?
So, okay, well, technically, Phil said 9 minutes, so he's technically close to being right about when we would start.
Only been 6 minutes.
Yes, because I put in the chat, place your bets on when we actually start. So we started about 5 to 6 minutes.
Does that mean people have to give you money, Mara, if they were wrong?
If they were wrong, yeah. If they were wrong, they have to give you money, apparently. This is going to be an interesting conversation, chat, because for 2 reasons. One, we both saw Blue Beetle.
We did.
We're not going to say how. We'll just say it was a special Warner Brothers copy. We watched the film, and I was not a fan of it. All right.
Yes,
I would say, if I'm going to be honest, I would say that The Flash pissed me off more. But I was not a fan necessarily of Blue Beetle. But this one here.
Hey, don't point at me.
Last night
don't point your finger at me right now, okay? I was the target audience for that bullshit.
You obviously were the target audience.
Okay, they targeted the brown people. They targeted the brown people for Blue Beetle, and they knew exactly what to put in that movie.
Because, like, she messaged me when I got to shut my door, but she messaged me last night, goes, Mara, I liked it. Up here.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, I kind of like the movie. Chat, do not judge me. You can't judge me, chat. Okay, I was the target audience for that film. You can't hold it against me.
I will give her that. She definitely was the target audience, because I'm sitting here with my, like, granted I'm biracial, but I'm pretty much as white as they come, and I'm sitting here going, I'm watching this.
Disparu's judging me, Mara. He's judging me. I can't be judged by Disparu. I'm not going to England or to London or wherever the meetup is to argue my point. I can't. Disparu is judging me. I feel incredibly judged right now by Disparu. He is shaking his head at me right now in his English displeasure. I
can actually picture Disparu like that. Like just
he's
like
like
an air about
oh,
him.
No,
air about him, where it's like, it's like he's full on judgmental.
Yeah, Disparu's like, I can't DM this woman anymore for her opinions on Latino culture.
But anyway,
no, Disparu, stop.
Before we go into the specifics, all right, I'm gonna say hello to the chat, all right, and then we won't go in, I guess, not in like entirely into the movie, but we'll give like our thoughts on certain parts pretty much. But from the top, I see Mr. Bentham. What's up? Gaming or what? Ola, good to see you. Gravy D says WB just blew itself with this movie. It has to make like I would say 300 million just to break even. So we'll see. Triss, what is up, Triss? Hello, fuckers and fuckerettes. Good to see you, Triss. Ooh. Trey, hello, good to see you.
Jaluk.
Phil, what is up? Hope you're entertained at least. Hope your power comes back on well before then, I should say, pretty much. Until then, I hope you're entertained. All right, Gravy, so fingers crossed about your power. And this is where I said start placing your bets before we actually start. And this is when Disparu came in swinging, late in Bud Light.
Bud Light? How
yes,
dare
he came in swinging.
Wow.
That's hello, Phil. And this one's at 6:30. Megatron was like 6:15 Mountain Standard Time, which would have been like 9:15 Eastern, pretty much, or 8:15 Eastern. I'm like, have a little faith, Jesus Christ.
I'm not that messed up.
Yeah. Let's see. No, I generally don't really like Whoppers. I don't know what it is. But definitely did not try this one. So. And he's like, it was that or later and Alan. And I was like, poor Alan.
Oh, Leighton Allen. Poor Alan.
Yeah, I know. It was like he was probably the best part in the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
It comes in like swinging.
There was they made a new Ken doll. I I think it's like releasing in September or something like that. It has like the fur mink coat in it. Oh man, I'm so tempted to put that on my wish list. Like, I really want that Ken doll, but at the same time, it's like, give us Alan, you cowards.
Yes.
Like,
I love you. Like, you cowards. That's like Jimmy the Cast. What is up, Master Chief 117? No worries. Hope things have been going well for you. No worries. You've been away. I was on a hiatus for a little bit because of stuff that was happening with my parents' renovation, so I wasn't able to have a normal schedule either. Pretty much. Sean, what is up, Sean? Good to see you. Mike Hips, what is up? Good to see you. Jaluk, the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Hello, ladies and chat. Good to see
hi,
you.
Jaluk. It's been a minute.
So, yeah, laser sight on Steph. I wouldn't go that far, but I'm pretty sure the chat's probably not going to be on Steph's side that much.
No, I don't expect the chat to be on my side at all.
Yeah. So,
Like, mine is such an unpopular
yeah,
opinion.
I think so. You had the one of the hottest takes right now.
Oh my god. Like, totally unpopular opinion. Like, I kind of dug it. I kind of, like, it's all right.
The damn black where it's like the black delegation washes its hands of all involved.
Oh, no.
5 super chat from Megatron. Damn it, Steph, you couldn't have waited 9 minutes so that I could win the bet. Thought you loved me.
Sorry. Why is this brew putting guns in the chat? I feel
The
threatened.
laser sight, I guess. Mike Hill, what is up? Good to see you. If I miss anyone, I do apologize. Hurricane Hillary's is as incompetent as actual Hillary, so it couldn't find land. Is that it? Evan Martin, good to see you. Yeah, I'm not eating. Nope. I remember when it was like years ago when people were actually claiming it like racism when it came to the names of hurricanes and things like that. Like, why wasn't there like a hurricane like Quisha or something like that? And I'm like, you really want a natural disaster to be named after you?
Yeah.
Like more power to you, but like no one wants to say like Hurricane Mara. Like, Jesus, no, I don't want that a natural disaster to be named after me.
I think this one is funny. Hurricane Hillary. Like,
Yeah, Hurricane Hillary, which actually makes more
the
sense.
memes alone make
know.
that hurricane. But yeah, in all honesty, in all seriousness, if you are in the, if you are about to get in the pathway of that hurricane, I hope you guys stay safe.
Yes.
Go somewhere where there is shelter, and yeah, I hope it doesn't hurt you that much or hit you that hard. So, prayers up.
Trace wants a hurricane named after. All right, and Trace says this area is just hard rain. Good, at least it's not ideal, but at least it's just rain. But anyway, so we're talking.
This brew wants hurricanes to be sponsored. What the fuck?
Yeah, like hurricane. Like, I'm loving it. Oh my God, Dan! Wait for the t-shirts. I got blown by Hillary.
There you go.
All right, so let's talk Blue Beetle. All right, we're not going to really exactly go into like every part of the film necessarily, but it very much was despite the messaging, because there was messaging in this movie, it was very much a generic run-of-the-mill origin story.
Yes.
Which I don't really have a problem with, because origin stories, I think, should be kept simple, especially for characters that most people don't know that well, because you're kind of dipping your toe into it, like making like before you dive head first into like more complex storylines with the characters. So I don't have a problem with the simplicity of the plot. What made me roll my eyes was like I said, like if I wanted to get hit in the face with a frying pan, I would do it myself. Go to the kitchen and do it myself. That's what I felt like with how on the nose some of the messaging was in certain cases.
Yeah, like I agree with you on that. I found a lot of the messaging to be like completely eye rolling. Like I was just like, oh my god, how many times are we gonna mention this? Like, oh,
Yeah.
Minorities being kept down by the corporations, and oh no, you're losing your house. Oh my goodness, I rolled my eyes at that. A
Yeah.
lot actually in the movie. The message was very heavy handed in this film.
Mhm.
Which was very cringe. But I'm with Mara on the fact that like it is an origin story. Honestly, in full honesty, full disclosure, I do not know a lot about Blue Beetle. That's
Mhm.
probably why I like this movie, because I just don't know a lot about Blue Beetle. And the fact that they did,
Yeah.
it was basically like just like predictable, by the numbers, a superhero origin story, and but because like I didn't know who Blue Beetle was, um, I I
Mhm.
I didn't
Well, see,
mind
like
it.
this, I
There was
want to
very
answer this real
reminiscent,
fast. Ted Cord is not in the movie, but he's at least mentioned, and I do
yeah,
know that Ted Cord was Blue Beetle. He was the original Blue Beetle, like actually in the comics. So it's
and
not like
it was very heavy handed with like the references to him. So like he wasn't absent from the film. He wasn't absent from the film. Like he gets mentioned a lot, a
Mhm.
lot. In the film. And I there were some things that I really liked about the film. There's some things that I did not like about it. Okay, I didn't like how heavy-handed the messaging was.
Mhm.
I didn't like that, Ted Cord was mentioned, but you didn't see him, but it was very convenient that like he was already Blue Beetle, and like you found his
Yeah,
back
I'm kind of with
cave.
Trey. Then why not make a Ted Cord? Like because
Yeah, you
I,
basically
I
found his bat cave there, so they could use like all of his tools at their disposal.
yeah.
It was very convenient, as opposed to seeing the hero of the film like make his own tech, right, or figure things out for himself. It was very convenient that like there had already been a Blue Beetle before him, and
Mhm.
that Blue Beetle
Yeah.
had basically invented all of this tech to the point where like he had like a basically
It was
like
like ready
basically
made.
a
It was like a
bat
ready
wing,
made
but it's a
superhero.
bug.
Yeah, ready made
Like
superhero story. So
it was very much like a movie of convenience. The superhero that we wanted to see already had his time to shine as a superhero, and he just like kind of like in the movie they say he died or disappeared. um
disappeared. Yeah, because
yeah,
like
so like we don't know
basically
what
he's
happened
like
to him.
one day
Like
he was
all of
just
his tech
gone.
was like
Yeah.
left behind, so I didn't really like the fact that uh everything was like pretty much handed to them on a silver platter. Like
Mhm.
they basically had everything that they needed at their disposal to help him. um so there wasn't necessarily very much of like a struggle with the main character. As opposed, the only struggle that he had was
Was when the
like,
suit was augmenting itself. That's it. Because
yeah, was the suit was
it
like
was that
augmented,
technology
and
because it had
that
a
was
mind of its
basically it.
own, and the mind the like the scarab itself, like the entity in Jaime's head was Kajida or something like that. So like like because Jaime is the only one who can hear this voice because it's
Yeah.
pretty much a symbiotic relationship from the point when the scarab fuses itself within Jaime. So Jaime can, it's almost like Jaime, like another personality almost taking over.
Yeah.
And that was the only struggle pretty much is when
Yeah.
the suit was augmenting itself because it's like, calibrating this pretty much. But the suit's doing it. It's not Jaime doing it. It's the suit doing it. Which again, it's like, I would want to see an origin story where like with Ted Cord, where he's actually, it's like failing pretty much. He tries something and fails because it didn't work. So he goes back
Yeah.
to the drawing board, like that origin story, becoming that superhero versus the
Right.
the suit is pretty much doing it itself at that
Yeah,
point.
the suit's doing it for him. He just has to sort of like teach them that like we're not killers, and
Yeah.
teach the scarab Spanish. Like that I didn't like that. Like I was just like, okay, there's really no struggle for this person. He just doesn't want to be a superhero. It's basically like, I got this power. I don't want it. I just came for a job. Um, and the suit sort of like it takes over. Takes over for him.
Hmm.
There's no real struggle for him. Yes, Stunning and Brave Megatron says, because I think Ted died before he met Jaime. or at least that's how it went in Young Justice. Yeah, in the movie, so
Mhm.
he's disappeared.
Yeah, they don't.
So
We won't know for sure if he's dead or not.
We meet his daughter, and the daughter is the one that takes Jaime to Blue Beetle's, like basically his bat cave, his beetle cave.
Mhm.
And there's everything. And you know what? Oh man, Mara, the more I think about this movie now, the more I kind of don't like it. But like you have, okay, look, I was like really on board with this film when I saw the trailer. And then we got to George Lopez's part where he's like, Batman's a fascist, you know, and I was like, oh man, that like really ruined the movie for me. Like, let's not, nope, I don't like it. Like, I was really on board with it. You know, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of dig it. I can get into this, right? It doesn't look bad. And to be fair, the set pieces, all of that, like I really liked that, you know, we're at these places kind of, you know, like in a film studio, whatever, as opposed to like being in front of like a green screen the whole time, kind of like Marvel. I really appreciated that in the film. The fact that like we're at these places and it actually like looks like we're on, you know, a real location as opposed to like just being in front of a green screen. I really appreciated that in this film. Here's what I liked about this film. Okay, this film has a very strong family.
I didn't mind that. I wasn't exactly
at the heart of this
family,
film.
but I liked the family.
That is what I really liked about this film, is that like they have this whole family aspect to the film, and that's like the core of Jaime, the core of like the movie. That's what I liked about this film, is that it's very family centric. I found myself laughing at a few times in this film, because like I honestly, like I hate saying it, but like honestly I was just like, oh my god, my mom's just like that. Or like, dude, my fucking grandma, god damn it. Like you know what I mean? Like I found myself laughing at some of the jokes in this film, because I can like I could see it. I was just like, ha, my fucking mom's like that, you know? So like I found myself laughing at that.
I was not, I mean, I don't like George Lopez, but I actually was not, I actually disliked the sister more, but that was mainly because of like she at least early in the film had a very entitled attitude.
Right. I didn't mind so much. I didn't mind the sister as much as I didn't really like George Lopez's character in this film.
Yeah, he was, I get crazy uncle, but I'm like,
he was extra. He was very extra.
Very extra.
George Lopez in this film was very extra. I didn't like him. I didn't like the fact that like for whatever reason he could fly this whole like bug.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, where did you get your pilot's license?
What's that? Where did you get a pilot's license? How can you fly this thing? It's your first time doing this. I didn't like that. I think that like he was very, for whatever reason, like they made him super OP and incredibly smart.
Yeah, like he knew, like he knew all this tech shit. So I'm like, I don't mind him having technical know-how, but the stuff that he was coming up with, I'm like, you kind of need a degree for that.
Yeah, like he made this tech where it will, it'll like block out the cameras at this corporation, right?
Yeah.
Corporation.
With Uber security measures
to break into this corporation. That he invented tech to block out the corporation, and not only block them out, but make them watch El Chapulín Colorado instead of like just jamming the cameras. He not only jammed the cameras, but he sent a signal to watch El Chapulín Colorado. And I was just like, I was laughing because I thought about Dan Vasc. Like, Dan Vasc really likes that character. And I was trying to like, oh my god, I wanted to text Dan during the movie, but I was like, nah.
Nah.
But yeah, like he sent a signal to jam this corporation's cameras. This corporation, by the way, is supposed to be heavily guarded, heavily secured. Yeah. But for whatever reason, he was able to
do this from a gadget the exact gadget they needed on the back of his truck. They put on the back of his truck, pretty much. I will back up. There's only one part I chuckled at.
Hold on, the fact that like the fact that he even had the thing that they needed. It was that's why I say like this movie is a movie of convenience, because like they had exactly what they needed at the time they needed it.
Yes.
The fact that he had what they needed, the fact that he knew to be there to help Jaime at this specific time that he needed
Mhm.
to be helped. The fact that they needed somebody to fly the beetle wing. I don't know what they call it, but the bug. They needed somebody to
Yeah,
fly the
bug.
bug.
It's called the bug. I have no
The
idea what
bug.
it's
They
called.
needed somebody to fly the bug, and he was able to do that. I didn't like
Mhm.
that they made him super OP. The fact that like
Yeah.
he's
Like, if
basically
anything,
throwing rocks
yeah.
at the villain in the film, and then the villain shoots him, literally shoots him and destroys the platform that he's standing on.
But
And in
he,
the next scene, he's
unscathed.
completely fine, unscathed, did not get hurt, no concussion, no cuts, scrapes,
If
nothing.
if anything, Jenny, I would have believed Jenny to be the pilot because at least you would figure that growing up, even like with her father, that she would have picked up on some things and like continued working on the tech, so she would know. But what the uncle? I like never understood that. But there was only one part. I'll backtrack. There's only like one part where I actually genuinely chuckled with something involving George Lopez's character, and that is when it's a scene after Jaime has gone to Cord Industries because he like the scarab is infused onto his back, and he wants to find Jenny to figure out what's going on because she's the one who gave him the thing, and ostensibly for him to not open the box and to hide it and to keep it safe, pretty much. So he's driving his uncle's truck, which gets destroyed or shot up by the core security. And the next scene, all you hear is like the shrieks of George Lopez's character as he's looking at his truck.
Yeah, that part made me laugh a little bit because I was like, ha.
Yeah, I did genuinely.
But I didn't know if I was laughing because I was like, ha, his truck got fucked up, you fucker. Like
I know. I'm just saying, like it was like a genuine, it's just a genuine chuckle because of like everyone's sitting there silently, and I'm just sitting there like fucking serves you right. And they're like just waiting for him to come back in and just like listening to him, like and he's like, "What did you do to the taco?" He called
yeah,
his
like the
truck
fact that he was having like this big breakdown in the garage and he came back in and he was like kind of what do you call it? He's just like calm, like
Yeah.
he had his breakdown out there. Okay, let's come in. We're fine.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, but there was a
But other than that, it was like he was pretty much like someone put in the chat, like the Deus Ex Machina of the movie, essentially. Like
yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't like like if of all characters you pick to be the Deus Ex Machina, you pick the crazy uncle, George Lopez's character,
the one that like believes in conspiracy theories and thinks that there's like a microphone in a balloon. Like he's pretty much the crazy uncle, which is why honestly the Batman is a fascist, that line, it didn't really bother me as much because within the context of the film, he's a crazy uncle. Like he's saying a lot of crazy things throughout the film. So when he's like Batman's a fascist, I was like, okay, well he's a fucking idiot. Like he's crazy, So that like if they hadn't have put that in the trailer, when he said it during the film, it wouldn't have had the same impact as it did because it's in the trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It's still kind of, I mean, yeah, but it still kind of comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really make sense within the context of what's going on, pretty much.
Right.
Because at the same time, it's like, Batman's a fascist, but Blue Beetle, like, he had a sense of humor. Like, one, that makes absolutely no sense. Two, Blue Beetle fought crime like Batman, so one's a fascist and one's not. Like, where's that? Where's that?
The fact that, well, here's the thing though. Okay, the uncle, when he finds out who Blue Beetle's identity is, he's like, oh, that makes sense. It's a billionaire. He has expendable income. He can be a superhero, right? But he doesn't know that like Batman is also a billionaire, like Bruce Wayne. He doesn't know the identity of Batman. So for him to say like one's a fascist and one isn't, it doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
It's sort of contradictory in the film. But at the same time, I'm also thinking like this dude also thinks like there's a microphone hidden in a balloon and he pops it and throws it out the window. So he's not all there. So I'm just kind of in my mind, I'm like, well, he's an individual who's not all there. Like, and he even says like, I'm a what does he call himself? He's like, I'm a mistake, or he says something. He
Yeah.
puts himself down in the film. He's like, I'm basically a failure.
When he when he was
I'm the
talking to Jaime, because he was talking about how Jaime's father would took care of
he
the
took care of
uncle
him.
when,
Like
when he was a kid, things like that.
this is the uncle that lives on the couch. Like he lives on the couch with them. Like he's a failure.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about being crossing the river into the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge message that's like heavy-handed in this film of immigrants or whatever.
Immigration, essentially, pretty
Yeah,
much.
there's a big conversation of like immigration in this film, but he talks about like how Jaime's father did what he needed to do as an immigrant in this country. He worked very hard. It doesn't matter what job he did, he just got a job and worked.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls himself a failure because he
Mm-hmm.
basically slept. He still to this day like will sleep on the couch. He kind of mooches off of his family,
Yeah.
which is odd because I don't know how he got the truck that he got.
Yeah.
So I was like, how did you get the truck if all you're doing is mooching off of this family? You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of like contradictory things in this film. But like I honestly didn't take George Lopez's character seriously because at the
Mhm.
at the very beginning of the movie, that this guy's crazy.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't have minded necessarily an allegory when it comes to immigration, because at least if you're going to back it up with the fact, like the father, Jaime's dad, like took whatever job he could, pretty much to the message of work hard, basically believe in yourself, things like that. It's short of saying the American dream, essentially, but like the universal messages, pretty much, which would have been instilled within Jaime, especially when he takes on the moniker Blue Beetle, pretty much. I wouldn't have necessarily minded that, because that is a universal message. We essentially, everyone in the United States, essentially, would not be here one way or another if their relatives, their ancestors, did not immigrate from another country.
Right.
So I don't mind that. It's just the whole, Trey asked, what did you think of the ice raid scene? When you have the heavy-handed messaging like that.
Yeah, it's very heavy-handed in this film. You can't not know what they're referencing.
Well, there wasn't an ice raid, but it was very much allegorical to an ice raid, pretty much. There's no way that you could at all interpret it any other way.
Yeah. So that type of stuff, I'm like, oh my god! I found myself rolling my eyes at it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff though, when it had to do with the family, I was like, okay, I kind of like that, because it's very rare that you see a movie that's family centric, where there's the heart of the movie is a family movie, a family that's together, that loves each other so much they will fight for each other. That's very rare nowadays that you find a movie like that, which is unfortunate. But this movie does have that. It has that family dynamic, the family centric movie, where you have a father who loves his son, a mother who loves his son, who would die for their children, will do anything to get their children, to protect their children. You have that in this film, and I appreciated that in this film. There were some silly things in this film that I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I don't, nope, I don't believe that for a fucking bit,
With the grandmother, pretty
with
much,
the grandma,
with the shocker.
Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
I
How
was
did you
like
get
that.
down here with that big ass fucking gun? Like that shit. I was like, okay, we could have had that nice family grandma moment without her, with the gun, because
no, but they gave Granny a gun because she was a revolutionary when she was younger.
The grandma's a revolutionary, and so she has this big fucking gun, and she's like, "I'll tell you the story later." I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you really doing that? We're not gonna tell the story now. The audience isn't gonna know what the story is. You're just gonna tease that you were a revolutionary, and then oh, there's some story behind it, but we're not gonna know what the story is. It's just for another time." I didn't like that. I hate when that happens in writing, because it's that's just a ridiculous way to have a ridiculous scene and write it off as oh, this is just something in her past that we're never going to know about. I don't like when writers do that. I appreciated the fact that the grandma, because in Hispanic families and Latino families, it's very matriarchal. We do things for our husband. The family, the women run the household. So when there's a death in the family and the grandma says like, no, right now we're not going to grieve just yet. We need to wait. We need to take care of what needs to be done. And then we'll have time for tears later. Like, I got that. I totally understood that. Because it's very much, a thing that I've personally been through, So when and then like,
She's not at
but like
home.
having the grandma get this fucking gun and like be a revolutionary, I was like, no, let's just have her like be in the plane to bring home the to bring home at the very end when everybody's together, like, okay, now we can cry, now we
Mhm.
can grieve, that still would have been impactful had she not
But they make it
gone
so
out there
like they try to make
with the
it so
fucking gun.
comical, and it just like
Yeah, they
it
made it
doesn't work.
comical, and I didn't like that. I did not like that. I thought that was kind of dumb. I thought that was really stupid that like they made the grandma go out there and like shoot people with this gun. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, are we seriously gonna do that? This old lady, this old frail, fragile lady, gonna go out there with a gun? Like, get out! I don't believe that for a second. That these people,
Yeah.
that they can't shoot her. Right? She's gonna get her shots in before they shoot her. What if she had been injured? What if they had shot her? Like, get out of
Well,
here! Get out
well,
of here
this
with that
really points
bullshit!
out that she hid the bulletproof pacifist behind her. So like because Blue Beetle is bulletproof. So Blue Beetle literally could have Jaime could have literally stood in front of his grandma and that like acted as a shield. But she
Right,
put
but
him
he didn't
behind
do
her,
that.
and
Yeah.
with like the convenience of none of the security guards got a shot off because reasons.
Yeah. Trey was like, would she even be able to lift it? That was my thought when I was watching this. I was
Because it's
like,
basically a
how
minigun.
is she lifting this gun? This heavy fucking, how is she even holding it? And she's like holding it and laughing. So like that, those things that happen in this film that are like, they're there for comedy. They're there to make you laugh. They're there to make you cheer.
But
I
at
didn't
least it has to
believe it.
make
I was like,
sense.
no, I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Kind of like George Lucas flying George Lucas. No, George Lopez. Sorry. Kind of like George Lopez character flying the bug. I was like, I don't believe that. How did he fly it? How did he just figured it out? How did he have this jamming system that you just happen to need? Oh, he just happened to have it.
You just have to
I
be
didn't
working
like
on
that.
it for that
It was
very
very
reason.
much, yeah, it was, he just happened to be working on it. Oh, okay, sure, whatever. It was very much a movie of convenience, that all of those things, the convenient things that just happen, I didn't like that. The one thing that I did like, that I told Mara, I was like, I kind of like this film, was the fact that at the very least, this film had some good family messaging, and I kind of liked that. Um, Granted, like I told Mara, I was like, dude, I was a target audience for this, and I totally like, yeah, I totally get it. Like from the very beginning of the movie, where the mom was like, they were hitting Jaime with all of these things that had been happening while he was been off at school. Like the dad had a heart attack, they lost their house. What else happened? I don't remember.
Dad had a heart attack. They lost their house. They lost the business.
They lost the business, right? And he's just like, they wanted to
And
make
the
sure that he
rent was like
ate.
tripled or something like that.
Yeah, the rent had like tripled, so like they made sure that he ate, and then the sister broke all this news to him, and he's just sitting there like, what is going on? I laughed at that because like my mom is the same way. She will not tell me what is going on because she doesn't want to bother me with that information. She wants me to like do what I need to do to be focused. She will not tell me what is going on. So like that, I found myself laughing when he was like learning all of this stuff, when he finally came home, because like sometimes when I go back home and like visit, I'm learning all of this stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why didn't you guys call me? Like, why aren't you telling me any of this? And like my mom's like, no, I don't want to bother you with any of this information. So like I found myself laughing at that because like that's pretty much on point. They will not burden you. They want to keep you focused. If you're not at home, you can't do anything about it. They're not going to burden you with the issues that are happening at home. But at the same time, the issues that were happening at home were because of like, it's because of like the corporations that are owned by the white people, and that's why we're having issues. And I'm like, oh my god, like give me a fucking break.
Again, like another example of heavy-handed messaging, like the gentrification and the like again, like these are like the messaging in this movie. It's not like comics haven't had messaging essentially, but they've been allegorical in nature. like where they weren't so heavy-handed. All right, so
Yeah.
the messaging itself, like the gentrification or displacement and things like that, I don't necessarily have a problem with it per se. It's when it's in your face and so
Yeah.
blatantly one-sided, then it becomes an issue, pretty much.
Right. So,
But
I'm
I was
gonna
telling
get
Teresa
into. I'm gonna
earlier,
get
there was
into
one
a.
part that I actually, another part at the beginning of the movie where I did laugh, and that's when Jaime is coming down the escalator and he's putting on his graduation cap because he wants to like to wear his cap when he sees his family who's going to be greeting him, and he
Right.
turns around and asks this guy, like, how do I look? And the guy kind of like looks him up and down and goes, like you're figures in debt.
Oh my god, I laughed at that too. I was
Yeah,
like,
I laughed at that.
Yeah, that's pretty much you. Yep, you're not wrong.
Nope, you're not
I
wrong.
honestly wanted him to be like, you look like you wasted a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a genuine, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I will give out a little spoiler right now. Okay, I'm gonna give out a little spoiler. There is a death in this film. The death, honestly, I was kind of. Be serious. Do we really need to put this death in this?
I
Need to happen. Are we really going there with this film? But there is a death in this film. It was kind of foreshadowed, honestly, at the beginning of the movie, because they say that like the dad had a heart attack while Jaime was away.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on in this film, when they're doing like the quote unquote ICE raid at the house and they're trying to get away, the dad ends up having a heart attack, but there's nobody there to help him. He's pretty much in the. Jaime can't help because he's been caught by the evil white lady of the film, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Victoria Cord in a bit. Yeah, but like she's the one who orchestrates this raid.
The evil white lady of the film has caught Jaime Reyes, and he can't do anything. And the sister is there. Nobody will help the father. Nobody will help his dad. And so the dad ends up having a heart attack that is so bad that he actually dies like right there. I don't feel like the death was like necessary, but at the same time, I think that the fact that they what they showed in the film was very impactful. You know, it wasn't like, well, he died and now we're going, the next scene is like Jaime being captured. No, like they gave the family their moment to deal with the death, which that's something that like I appreciate. He didn't just see his dad die and then, it's like the rest of the like family plays a really big part in this film. So the fact that they showed, the mom like looking down at her husband while they're trying to resuscitate him and clear, and they use like the paddles on him and they're showing that, and then they have this conversation like with the grandma, like, yes, he died, but we can't grieve yet, we still have something to do. We still have something to do, we still have a minute, we can't grieve yet because. And the fact they showed the sister too, the sister was just inconsolable. The fact that the film is very family centric, family focused, and that they took that amount of time to deal with like the father's death, I thought it was a really good thing. But I'm not quite sure if like it was necessary. Like did his father like really have to die? I don't know.
I like. Yeah, because the only time that ever has any impact is when, again, we'd have to go into spoilers a little bit, because you see it a little bit later where Jaime is able to essentially talk with his dad, but at the same time it's like, I mean, like there really was no other inspirational message that the father could have was giving him, essentially, like essentially beyond the grave sort of pep talk or anything like that, or anything really. Like, nothing. Like, that would have been like an emotional payoff for that scene.
Yeah,
but we didn't really get that.
You know what? Disparu brings up a good point, because he's like, the father wouldn't have needed to run away if the son had dealt with the soldiers instead of being a pacifist. That's very true. So like
Mhm.
up to this point, like Jaime is like, I don't want to kill. I think I can reason with them. I think I can talk to them. I think I can talk them down. He doesn't want to like engage in combat, whereas the Scarab does. The Scarab like analyzes situations and knows that like
They're a
this is a
threat.
situation. Yeah, they're a threat. This is a situation that we need in combat, and he doesn't want to do that.
Mhm.
But I think that they should have. Right? What they should have done was make it to where Jaime is like, okay, there are some situations that we need to engage in combat and maybe some that don't, you know?
Yes.
But he doesn't have that struggle. Like, he should have been, instead of just grieving for his dad, it should have been like, okay, I need to make things right with Scarab and like figure out a way to do this. There was never like an internal struggle. Nothing. There was never an internal struggle with Jaime the character. And that's what I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that there was no internal struggle. Like, he didn't blame himself for his father's death. He didn't do any, there was nothing like that. He was just sad that his dad had died. It wasn't like it was my fault. Had I engaged these people, had I listened to
Yeah,
this
nothing. Like
yeah,
that could have
maybe
been the
my
emotional
father would
moment
still
where
be
he's talking
alive
with his
right
dad,
now.
where like
But
where he's blaming himself and his father's like like the consoling moment pretty much. It's like
right,
like
like maybe,
sometimes like the most painful lessons are the ones that like impact you the most.
yeah, but there was no like self-blame, like, oh shit, I made a mistake and now it's my fault that my dad is dead, or if I had done things differently, my dad wouldn't be dead. There was none of that. There was no like, I'm placing blame. There was no internal struggle. I think that if there had been an internal struggle, it would have been a little more impactful, especially in the scene where Jaime almost dies and he sees his dad and his
Yeah.
dad is telling him like, no, it's not your time. You still have to fight. That would have made it more impactful because he would have been crying like, I'm sorry, this happened to you, I'm sorry, I should have done this, I'm sorry. There would have been like that internal struggle, but there was
Yeah.
nothing like that. There
No.
wasn't anything like that. His dad was just like, you have to bond with the Scarab. And it was like, how does your dad fucking know that?
I don't know.
You know what I
But
mean? Like,
yes,
how do
Rachel,
you
we
know
are a
that?
day
How
late.
does your
We are a
dad
day
know
late.
that?
But we had to watch the movie. Both of us had to watch the movie. So yeah, but like the dad is like he's coming out like with this like, was supposed to be a pearl of wisdom. Like you have to bond with the Scarab. I'm like, how do you like again? How do you know that? Where's that coming from? Like,
Right.
what would have made him at all say something like that? Because for the entirety of the film up until the father dies, like they have no idea what this technology is.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I think he dies before there's even there's even a discussion about how, because he wasn't around, he wasn't there when the uncle discovered that, oh, there's a way to remove the Scarab, but you have to be dead first, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
it has been bonded with Jaime, so like how would the dad even know?
Right. Well, because he's dead now, so he has all the thoughts.
I guess like
So
afterlife
now
like
he knows
imbues you
afterlife
with like
thoughts.
limitless
Everything
knowledge
now.
or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's talk
But
about
like,
Victoria Cord because they
oh my gosh, we have to talk about that.
yeah, because they don't.
Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
You know who she reminded me of? She basically reminded me of Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. Like that's all
I don't know
could
if that's an
think about.
insult to Susan Sarandon or Uma Thurman.
Like that's all I could think of. She was just like the quintessential like villain.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just gonna play on this because I am the villain. I'm just gonna play it like the villain. Sacrifices need to be made. Like, that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh my god, why don't you just like, why aren't you just like wearing a sign that says like I am evil across your chest throughout the whole movie?
Yeah, I
You know
know.
what I mean? Like,
All she was
the way
missing was
she,
the mustache to twirl, pretty much, from like the
yeah.
silence. But you know that's the villain of the movie, pretty much. Like that's
Like seriously, could she have not been more like, I'm a villain, all I care about is like my self-interest? The people that she keeps disrespecting around her, one of them is Sanchez, and like that's not his name, but he's
yeah.
like, he's a Latino, and he's just like, my name's not Sanchez, and she continues to like disrespect him and call him Sanchez.
Yeah.
I thought that was so stupid because like towards the end of the movie, like,
Oh, the big moment where it's like, my name is.
he has a big moment in the movie where he like stands up to her, he lets Jaime go, And then he tells her his fucking 6 names. I was like, are you kidding me
You
right
fucking
now?
like who's gonna fucking care at this point?
Are you kidding me right now? He's like, my name is not Sanchez. It's blah blah de la blah de la
I
blah.
like this.
I was
I like
just
this brew.
are
If we
you
found out his name, I'd have called him Sanchez too.
I was like, are you
Hey,
kidding me
Pickles.
right now? You have to be joking. He's like, my name is Angel de la Cruz.
like 5-6 names. I'm like, I don't
Gonzalez
remember all that.
Romano.
I'm
I was
gonna
like,
call
oh
you.
my god,
I'm gonna
De La
call you
Cruz. I was
Sancho
like, no
Panza.
freaking way.
Oh,
He has like a name that's like six words long. Like that is just like so stereotypical. Like I was like, no freaking way you put that in the movie. And then 5 seconds later, he gets his brains like blown out. I was like, well, you did that for nothing. Like,
yeah,
what
pretty
the
much.
hell? What did that accomplish? You made the crowd cheer for this guy who's about to get his head blown in 5 seconds later. Like, I thought that was pretty dumb. Like, fine, have a henchman who's like sympathetic to Miguel, okay, but you don't need his moment in the sun to shine and stand up to this evil white lady. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like say his full name to her. I thought that was dumb. You could already tell that he doesn't like what he's doing, that he doesn't agree with what he's doing, that he's pretty much in it for the science, because he's telling her character, he's telling Susan Sarandon's character, like, hey, we could learn more if he's alive. You don't need to die, you don't need to kill him, you know. So like he already has a reason to not want to kill me, to kill Jaime, right?
Yeah.
He's in it for, you kind of get the sense that like, I'm in it for the science. I'm in it for like, I want to know what's going on with the scarab. Like I want to know information. So you don't have to stand up to him because she got your name wrong. You know, you could be like,
Yeah.
hey, we need him alive. We need this man alive to learn more about what this is, because it's an alien entity, and he wants to learn about it. Like, there's your focus. There's your reason why you don't want to kill Jaime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not because she got your name wrong. I thought that was kind of dumb.
That was incredibly dumb. It kind of harkens back to a scene earlier in the film. So I was mentioning this to Teresa earlier, where it's Jaime is he's walking into the Cord building wearing basically ostensibly his best suit, pretty much, because he had lost his job, ironically working at Victoria Cord's estates as kind of like one of the part of the staff, cleaning staff.
Mm-hmm.
So Jenny's like, here, she gives him her cell phone number, and she says, contact me, I'll see if I can find you another position within the company, essentially. So he's going in to meet with Jenny, and the receptionist, first off, like, thinks he's a delivery boy when he's not wearing a delivery uniform, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the thing that I don't agree. I was just like, this makes no sense. You think he's a delivery boy? He's wearing a suit. Why would
he's wearing a suit? Yes.
Yeah. And then the second thing that really pissed me off is that he told her that his name was Jaime, and she kept calling him Jamie.
Yeah. No matter what, I was like,
it's not like he wrote it down and she was reading it. No, he told her, my name is Jaime.
Yes.
Jaime is not that hard to pronounce, and she kept calling him Jamie. Like, that really irritated me. I was like, he didn't write it down. You know, because Jaime is spelled like Jamie. He didn't write it down and give it to her. No, he said, my name is Jaime.
Which, like a normal person, like a normal person, like, you know, as a receptionist would have been like, oh, my apologies, and would have like said his name correctly, pretty much. Much. If he'd written it down, that, oh, like, you know, Jamie, like, oh, it's pronounced Jaime. My apologies. That's how the receptionists normally do that shit. Not continually saying Jamie.
Yeah, and when I was watching, I'm like, dude, you're a receptionist. Who the fuck do you think you are? Like, seriously? You don't know who this man is. He could be incredibly important. And you're calling him Jamie? Yeah. You don't think this man could possibly, maybe, I don't know, make you lose your job? You have no idea who you're talking to at this point, because you're just a receptionist. Why on earth would you disrespect someone who's coming to see one of the, like, most important people in the fucking building?
For all you know, he's going to be like
this person. Like, seriously.
For all you know, like, you know, you don't know, because I've worked basically for, like, you know, companies, and like she doesn't. For all she knows, this Jaime could be coming in to basically go through the staff and cut basically find out where the fat can be cut, so to speak, pretty much. So her, like, she could be doing this shit and her job could be on the line.
Right. She has no idea who this person is, and she keeps disrespecting him not once, not twice, not three, but I think like 4 times she calls him Jaime, or she calls him Jamie. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? That is ridiculous. And he had to like correct her a few times. Like, no, it's Jaime. And she continues to call him Jamie. I thought that was the stupidest thing that they put in, one of the stupidest things that they put in this film is that a fucking receptionist is like, okay, Jamie. Okay, Jamie.
Take a seat,
like,
Jamie.
Do you have an appointment, Jamie? I'm like, who the fuck are you? But no, because they wanted to make like this another white lady fucking rude to a Mexican kid. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's stupid. That was another part in the movie where I fucking rolled my eyes because I'm just like, you don't know who he is? Why on earth would you think that this person who's dressed in a fucking suit is there for a fucking delivery? Get out of here. Get out of here. Like that.
Yeah.
No.
That was
no
just
place with that scene.
That was beyond cringe. That was beyond cringe when that happens.
Disbrew is in chat calling me Heffany. No. Do not call me that, Disbrew. Calling me Heffany.
If you keep calling Jaime Jamie, you're doing it to be a dick. Which is essentially kind of like how she was, pretty much. It's at that point, like, you know, it's like, again, it's like she's making it flat out obvious she doesn't care, and at the same time, like I said, as someone like, you know, myself who's worked for a company, you have no idea who the person is who's coming in, all right, from outside the company. So for all you know, that person could have your job in his or her hands.
Yeah,
so, like, I'm saying
that scene was so stupid.
And like also in the military too, because like, you know, there like have been times where it's like you have to basically make sure that you are seen as pretty much like, you know, like vital, pretty much, and to do that, you show respect for the person coming in, and you demonstrate that you are a crucial to whatever task you're performing. Pretty much.
Right. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm a receptionist and so much better than him because he's brown. Like that was so stupid. I could understand if he wrote it down and she's like, okay, Jamie, and he's like, no, it's Jaime. You know, but even nowadays, like if you see a guy and he spells his name Jamie, you know it's Jaime. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just me like growing up like
like you had said, if he like maybe had a note or something from Jenny, pretty much, and he like, you know, was like showing it to the receptionist to like prove that he had an appointment with Jenny Cord, and you know she read it off, and you know it's like, you know, like as Jamie. But she wouldn't have kept calling him Jamie after he would have been like,
oh, it's Jaime, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, Jaime. Yes. You know, like it's not Jaime. It's not that hard to say, Jaime. Like he tells her twice, like it's Jaime, and she's like, okay, Jamie. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you own the building? No, but I have an appointment with someone who does. You know what I mean? Like, it's really stupid.
I agree with Jessica Jade here. A person in a suit isn't a delivery person unless it's Jason Statham. I do agree with that.
Yeah, like, it's so stupid. Like, excuse me, I have a meeting with one of the most important people who, in this film, like, literally, or not in this film, but in this building, and you're going to continue to call me Jamie? Like, shut up. Get out of here. So that's just something that's really stupid. That's why I say, like, the messaging in this movie is fucking heavy-handed as shit, and it's something that I don't like. It's kind of hard to appreciate the fact that they also put in that whole family aspect in this film, where it's like, I love that about this film, but I really wish they wouldn't have been so heavy-handed with the messaging in this film. Like, I really wish they wouldn't have been so heavy-handed with it.
Yeah, again, like, you know, like, I don't have a problem with some like
the family aspect.
I don't have necessarily a problem with the messages in themselves, pretty much, because like again, I'm repeating myself, but having read comics, there have been storylines when like there are messages in allegorical form, pretty much, even like messages with like about gentrification, displacement, and so forth, pretty much, but they are always told within allegory, pretty much universal. So like it's not one-sided. It's not like, you know, blatantly political or anything like that necessarily. It's reflective on like, you know, as a universal, like, to point out a universal message to people, pretty much, like, you know, whatever, like, pick something, pretty much. That's generally how, like, you know, how it goes. But it's again, like the messaging is so obviously one-sided, pretty much.
Yeah.
Allegory will show both sides. Allegory typically shows both sides, pretty much, and allows and lets the reader figure it out, determine which side is correct or which side they stand with, pretty much. This one here, it's like it's obviously positioning the family where you side with the family and against the evil the white military industrial complex in Victoria Court, pretty much, or the evil white corporation, so to speak, because even Jenny's like what, half Brazilian or something like that, so I think that's what she said her mother was or something. So even Jenny herself was not completely white, so she's okay. But Victoria Cord, that's a no-no. Hold on. I don't know. I'd have to look up Guyver bio boosted armor hyperviolence. So I don't know. I know there's definitely some something along those lines, but I don't know about that specifically.
Yeah.
Hey Zero, hope you're doing well. $5 super chat from Albert. Did you look up joking with? No, I'm gonna keep bugging till you do. So did you? No, hold on. I'm gonna do that while Steph is. Anything else you want to say about Victoria Cord? Because we have to talk about Carapax a little bit. Her pet project, so to speak. I think that's his name, right? Carapax, that's what she calls him.
I don't remember, honestly.
Her little pet project, the one that's going to be the OMAC.
Yeah.
The one-man army corps. It's like that's the reason why Victoria Cord wants the technology, because she wants to pretty much create one-man armies.
Right.
Which is like, okay, again, all you're missing is the twirling mustache and the monocle to let us know you're a villain at that point. Because it's just, again, we get it. She's the bad guy. Doesn't have to be so on the nose, pretty much. Yeah, yes, Carapax. Okay, because they make him sympathetic out of nowhere near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because like up and like I throughout the movie, like there are little hints where he doesn't like Victoria Court, or he's like you could tell, like, the things she says grates with him, pretty much. But that's it. That's it. Then out of nowhere at the end of the movie, because Jaime thinks that Carapax, like in his OMAC, because Carapax is an OMAC armor, pretty much, has killed his uncle. All right, so Jaime is just like full on rage mode at Carapax, and has Blue Beetle has used his technology to basically pin Carapax to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And is about ready to kill him, and the Scarab stops him.
Yeah, because he's taught the Scarab that we're not killers. And he's also taught them Spanish. The Scarab speaks Spanish now.
Yes, and then when whatever process Jaime was going through, the Scarab was like, when this was going on, the Scarab was able to look into the mind of Carapax.
Right. So
and
they said that, yeah. So Jaime gets captured, and they want the code to the Scarab, and
yeah,
they got it. They got it. But in the process of like getting the code, the Scarab looked into the mind of him, and he saw his backstory, and the Scarab, for whatever reason, even though like up until now the Scarab hasn't really necessarily been empathetic to anybody that they kill. Like they just want to kill everybody who's a threat to Jaime.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the Scarab is now empathetic to the fact that, like, oh, these people are human. They have human lives. They've gone through experiences or whatever. And so now, like, they don't want to kill anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Because even
Which-
Carapax even says
which-
your love for your family makes you weak. So I'm like,
Yeah, which kind of makes sense because like if the scarab has fully fused to Jaime, it would also have like Jaime's emotions and Jaime's reactions to things. So okay, so I feel like but at the same time, Jaime would also be feeling things about the scarab, you know. So I just don't know. Like it's
I have no idea.
really weird. Yeah.
Thank you for the super sticker, Mr. Tex. It is Salt, so thank you so much, Mr. Tex, for the super sticker. And Darian Murphy on 199 says, "Hey Steph, glad you liked the chocolate."
I
Yeah,
do.
okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we got the package today, and I did try some of the chocolate. It was really good. I'm looking forward to eating more. Thank you for that package. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the scarab can read minds, but it attaches itself to a pacifist, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
It chose Jaime, but again, like it was able to see into like the memories of Carapax. So now all of a sudden, we're supposed to sympathize with someone who was supposed to be who's
Who almost
depicted
killed
as a
Jaime
villain.
before.
Yeah, the entire movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's
so tired
like,
of sympathetic villains. But he's only here. Let me tell you, he's only sympathetic because he's a person of color.
I know. I'm saying it's like, oh my god.
You know, we have to have the big bad white lady. Like that's the real villain, okay? That's the real villain. She took this immigrant boy when he was just like 9 years old. Right? She took him as a child.
I'm
And
just asking if you got your wish
not
list.
only did she take him as a child, but she took him when he was grieving the loss of his mother. Like that's
Yeah.
an evil white lady. You know? I thought
Yeah.
it was so stupid.
In case you haven't figured it out by now,
She's
the villain. She's evil. Oh my god. Bitch Tex is asking if you got your wish list gift, Steph.
Who?
Mr. Tex is asking if you got your wish list gift.
I
that's all he
don't
does.
believe so. No, I have not.
So, and there's another thing, with Victoria Cord in a sense, and that was the scene where Jenny Cord is kind of relaying the family history, so to speak, with Jaime, and she's saying how, like, Victoria was the one that founded the company with her grandfather, but when the grandfather, and basically it was primarily used for like military tech and things like that. But when the grandfather died, instead of leaving the company to Victoria, he left it to his son. And I love how, like, I love how the automatic response to that was like, "Wow, that's kind of," and Jenny finishes, "sexist."
Yeah.
I'm like, or maybe it's because your aunt was batshit crazy and your grandfather saw it. I'm just spitballing here, pretty much, because like maybe the grandfather was like, maybe I shouldn't leave the company in the hands of a woman who would commit genocide.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe that. I don't know.
Maybe I'm making a decision that is beneficial
for the
But
for the world, not just the
seeing
company,
it
but
as
for the
sexist.
actual world. Maybe he's like, maybe it's better if I leave it to my son, who's not going to use it to blow up a third world country.
Yeah.
I'm
God
just saying.
damn it, Mara.
I'm just saying,
The more I think about this movie, the more I don't like it.
But I will. Like I said, I will give it this. It did not piss me off as much as The Flash did.
No, yeah, I will give you that. Like this, for sure, 100%. This movie did not piss me off as much as The Flash did. The Flash, like, I was just like, God, this movie is cringe as shit. I don't like this movie, and the fact that The Flash had Michael Keaton in it, and it still like upset me. I was like, well, damn, you know. And this movie didn't like hit that hard. This movie was. Like, if this movie was on in the background, I would put this movie with like Batman and Robin. You know, it would be like a guilty pleasure movie. Like, I would just put it in the background and like kind of laugh when I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But the Flash just pisses me off. Like, I don't like the Flash movie at all. This is like more of like a Batman and Robin movie, like guilty pleasure. It's not good, but it's not terrible. You know, there's still some things.
Yeah, I will give it that. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. I will give it that. But at the same time, it's like I just remember, like, basically how well this movie performs at the box office is pretty much going to determine if we see any more with the Blue Beetle character. And the budget, I think, for the movie was like I looked it up, was like $120 million, give or take. So it would have to make like 300 million just to break even. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's again, it's kind of a shame because, like I said, I don't mind run of the mill superhero like origin movies because that's when you're like introducing the character to not only the audience that knows the character, but to the audience that doesn't know the character, the normie crowd, pretty much. Like you want to take it slow in the first movie, and so forth. I don't mind that. I'm of the mindset of like keep it simple, stupid, pretty much. Don't go so complex or anything like that. It's like whatever. It's fine if it's run of the mill, pretty much. I would rather that than it to try to do too much right away, pretty much.
Yeah.
But again, it was like the messaging would always take me out of whatever scene I might have remotely gotten invested in. Like when Jenny Cord is relaying the family like history to Jaime, pretty much. I'm kind of invested in that because I'm listening to her relay, like basically the start of the company, like what the grandfather did and so forth, pretty much. I'm listening to that, but then out of nowhere, it's like that's kind of sexist. Okay, you just took me out of that. I have no interest in it moving forward at this point.
Yeah.
And again, other like basically other like military industrial complex things like that. I'm like, so it was that pretty much that took me out of the movie. Otherwise, like I said, it would have been just an average superhero origin film. It could have been fun. It could have been fun because it's a character that most people don't know, and you could have had a little bit of fun with it, pretty much. Not
for sure.
Because like, especially the scene where the suit's augmenting itself, pretty much like it would like it's you could have had Jaime like okay, I can't do this now, so I'm gonna have to figure this. I'm going to have to figure this out. Not the suit figuring out. I'm going to have to figure out how it works, pretty much.
Yeah.
That
like there were some things that like would have been really good, like it would have been really cool, but like I feel like Jaime, yeah, his dad died, but there was no like true like blaming myself for it. I have to get over it.
Yeah.
No, he's just grieving because his dad died. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I was the cause of it. If I hadn't have done this, I could have like saved my dad or something like that. There was nothing like that in it. It was just like my dad died. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I just it could have been really good, but it just wasn't.
Or at the very least, it could have been like entertaining, like very entertaining to the point where like I would actually be looking forward to a sequel.
Right.
Like let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes.
They lead into the idea of a sequel because guess what? Someone's not dead.
Yeah. Shocker.
They allude to, oh, you're not dead after all. Oh, okay.
So thank you. We will look this up. Joking with the Slopperazzi. Thank you for the $2 super chat, and thank you for the super sticker Gravy D. It is a pair blowing kisses. Thank you so much. Which is like then like it leads me to this. Then if he's alive, then why not just have Show Ted Cord training Jaime?
Yeah, they should have done that. It should have been that. Like have him train him because the Scarab attached himself to him and show him being like, oh my goodness, I've it's something. Don't just tell us, right? His daughter was like telling us like, oh, he tried forever to bond with the Scarab or whatever. Like he knew about it, he wanted it, but he could never bond with the Scarab. And now that like someone actually did bond with this, it would have made for a more interesting story had you had her father there training Jaime, like researching all of this stuff and finding out all of this information and training him because he no longer can be the Blue Beetle. Like he's old. He can't be the Blue Beetle anymore. Like he's retired. That type of a story. That would have been a lot better. That would have been really neat to see that, but no.
No, and I like at this point I would not want a sequel because it would be kind of more. I feel more of the same, probably a bit worse in the sequel. Like I said, it's like without the messaging, this would have been a fine superhero origin film, pretty much. Like it would have been like basically middle of the road origin film where like okay, let's see where they go with the sequel. But now, not really. No, I would not want a sequel, and chances are a sequel might not happen if this movie does not do well, pretty much.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and then there's like the scene where he practically killed people on a bus because, again, supposed it's supposed to be funny. People, he splits the bus in half because the suit
Oh,
goes
I
into
know
like
when he splits the butt in half. When he splits the bus in half, and he's like, "Oh my God, there's a kid."
I know.
Like, what the fuck?
So
All the extras in this movie happen to be like Latino, like fucking Mexican. I'm like, oh my God. Really?
yeah, I know. He really did not
Yeah.
feel like a hero because, like, to feel like a hero, there would be something called a hero's journey. And there really wasn't a hero's journey in this movie.
There was no hero's journey. Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah, there was no hero's journey. There was no struggle. The only thing was like, I don't want this. I don't want this on my body. And that was
yeah.
it. Like,
yeah, that was it pretty much. Like, no, like not like again. I know I feel like I'm repeating myself, but there really could have been a very emotional final lesson the father would bestow onto Jaime when Jaime's talking with him, like, basically, like, because Jaime's he's being pulled to the light pretty much. It's like, so he's talking to his father essentially in the afterlife, and his father, like, they very could have easily used that as something where it's, again, sometimes the most painful experience you go through is the best lesson you can take. Pretty much, it's the best. It helps you grow. It, like, I think, and messaging like messages like that, pretty much, where it's like, Jaime is blaming himself for not, like, feels like he didn't do enough to protect his family, should have been able to save his father, things like that, and like, it could have been, the message could have been like, sometimes you can't save everyone.
yeah.
That could have been a message too, like, sometimes you can't save everyone. Like, sometimes you have to, like, very much like, Spider-Man did it. Spider-Man managed it, like, for that hard lesson for Peter Parker, but no lesson for Jaime in that regard.
Right.
It's just like, again, like, it could have been good. I see nuggets in the movie where it's like, if you didn't be so heavy-handed with the messaging, if you just made it an origin story, if you had Jaime have a hero's journey, if the villain wasn't so on the nose, like, if in case if you missed you as a villain, here's another clue that she's evil approach.
Yeah.
It would have been fine, and I would have been essentially going, okay, let's see what they do with the sequel. So but at this point, it's like DC is hell bent on shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I like the movie in the sense that, like, it was very, like, family centric, Like, that's what I liked about the movie, because it's so rare to see that. Dear God.
Yeah.
Because it's so rare to see that, in a movie, something that like is a strong, family focused, with like a father figure, a mother figure, a family that's just a family. It's so rare, unfortunately, nowadays to see that, which is why I like that. There are some things that, like, they put in the movie that I was like, okay, I kind of get it, but the fact that it was, and there were some things in the movie that I was like, okay, that's cool. Okay, I like that. I like the character, of Jaime. Like, I like the guy that plays him. But there's so many other things that I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, rolling my eyes. Like, I know what's going to happen next. Susan Sarandon's fucking, oh my God, like, I just laughed at her character. You can't help but laugh. That's why I feel like this movie is like lumped in with Batman and Robin, because the villains are like so evil and villainous that it's
I know.
just like, seriously, get out of here with that acting right now. But I just found myself, like, laughing at it. honestly, I think I like this movie because I went in with like zero expectations, like none. I had no expectations for this movie. I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go and see this movie. And I think that's why like I liked it more than I thought
See,
I
gravy.
would, because
Mm-hmm.
like zero, no expectations for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, dear God, like this movie is probably mid at best. It's mid at
Yeah,
best. It's not
I give it like
a great.
if I were to be like objective, like objective, it'd be like I'd say 5 out of 10.
Yeah,
It's like
that's where I
right
put it.
there.
I put it at a 5 out of 10. Like I told Mara, like I liked it. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the
Mhm.
movie. I liked it. But there's so many things in this movie that I was just like rolling my eyes at, but I didn't mind it. Like I liked it. You know, it's kind of like the Batman movie. Like I fucking roll my eyes at the bad credit card. I roll my eyes at so many things in that fucking movie. I hate George Clooney, but I'll still have it on in the background if it's on TV. I won't change the channel. That's how I feel about Blue Beetle. Like I'll leave it on if it's on. Like I don't hate the movie. Like I would change The Flash. I would never watch The Flash.
No, fuck that
You know,
movie.
or Birds of Prey. Like I would never watch Birds of Prey again. You
No,
know, like I would change it.
once was
But
enough for me with that shit.
yeah, but like, or Wonder Woman 84. Like I would never watch that movie again. But this
That was
one,
painful.
I'll leave it on. I'll leave it on because it's fine. It's like a guilty pleasure movie. It didn't piss me off as much as the other movies did.
Yeah,
So but at the same
yeah.
time, it is a mid movie at best.
Yeah. Did the Batman's a fascist line land? No, it did not. It doesn't make any sense. Even so, within the context of the film.
The Batman is a fascist line. We actually talked about that at the beginning. For me,
Yeah.
when they introduced George Lopez's character, he's the crazy uncle. Like legitimately, he's crazy in the head. Okay, he thinks that there's a microphone hidden in a balloon. Like he's the crazy uncle. The things that he says doesn't really make sense. But at the same time, it's also like very contradictory in the movie because like he has things that he's working on that they need in the movie. It's a movie of a convenience. But it didn't bother me as much as it did when you watch the trailer because he's not being serious about it because he's a crazy person. He's just a crazy uncle. He's a crazy person. So like it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would be because like they really set up his character at the beginning of the movie that he is a crazy person.
So, and there was like another part, well, not really part, but kind of. I'm not saying it was their intention or anything like that with the song choice, but I did find it kind of strange. Like I find it sort of a strange pick, and that is following the father's death when they use the bug to like real fast, like to infiltrate that fortress where Victoria Court is, and we'll be like wrapping this up here because we like there's no more to say. The song "Kickstart My Heart" was playing, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I was like, that's not the best song choice if you really think about it.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, didn't his dad just die of a heart attack?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And they played "Kickstart My Heart." I'm like, not the best choice.
Yeah, I was like, okay, if that's what you want to.
I was like saying, could have played AC/DC TNT, but no. But anyway, yeah, I think there's no more that we like really like without going to the uber details pretty much that we can say about this movie. So I wrap it up. It's very much middle of the road origin film. The messaging is extremely heavy-handed. Plot convenience is galore, especially with Uncle Rudy, George Lopez's character, and so forth. So see it at your own discretion. I'm not one to tell people what they should and should not see, pretty much. So if you want to see the movie, that is up to you in the chats. We watched it. It was a special WB gift, so to speak. But if you want to see it in theaters, like I said, I don't tell people how to spend their money. And thank you for the $10 super chat. You're barmy. We appreciate it.
Mr. Tax, the Batman earrings. Yes, I did get the Batman earrings, Mr. Tax. Thank you. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm actually wearing them now. I'm wearing them now.
And $10 super chat from Mr. Bentham. Thank you. So thanks for the stream tonight. You are welcome. You are welcome. So that was Blue Beetle, ladies and gentlemen, for 2023. Now, where there'll be a sequel, chances are no, but that also depends on how well it does in theaters. So we'll be kind of paying attention to that. But yeah, so Talking to Us will be on Steph's channel this coming weekend since we switch off. So she gets to pick the topics for the next stream we do. So Steph, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Kick, Instagram, and Twitter. That's where I'm most active. All at the same name, My Nerdy Home.
Yes, and you can find me on this channel as well as my live YouTube channel. I'm also on Kick under Jade Shadow as well. Tomorrow I'll be streaming Mass Effect, so come check that out about 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And on my YouTube channel, this Wednesday I'll be talking about Ghostbusters 2 as part of the ones and twos, and then Thursday I'll be on Orange Chat's channel talking about the movie The Lost Boy. So come hang out then. I also have my Twitch, Jade Fire, where hopefully I didn't get screwed over with the Batman Arkham Origins game because I had to uninstall it and reinstall it because it gronked on me. So I'll be trying to play that again as well Tuesday. So come hang out with me then. Until the next Talk Nerdy to Us, ladies and gentlemen, on Steph's channel, we will see you all next Saturday, hopefully. Well, we'll see. But
Yeah.
take care and stay safe and have a good evening wherever you are in the world. Peace.
Bye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.